Welcome to the 8th week of the In Times Like These recap. Now let's get into this, starting with Zeke and Nichelle, who are at the roller skating rink, and he notices how she seems to be in a bad mood. She expresses how she is forced to keep a secret. We should know by now that she's hiding the fact that Yulissa fainted before Nichelle left for her date. But of course, Zeke knows all about secrets. Yvette. Cheater. Drug dealer. Yulissa walks around the school looking exhausted. Then Vanessa walks up to her former friend, asking if she's okay. Yulissa doesn't welcome Vanessa's concerns, but Vanessa states that even though their friendship ended out of the blue, she still cares. This response confuses Yulissa, since she believes that Vanessa was the one who cut her off. But before the two could talk things out and realize that Nichelle was the one who ended their friendship, Nichelle walks in, telling Vanessa to back off, which she does. Yulissa expresses her confusion of Vanessa's behavior to her sister, but Nichelle only claims that Vanessa is manipulating her. But doesn't Nichelle's actions also count as manipulation? Anyways, Nichelle also asks Yulissa if she's been drinking a good amount of water, since that's the excuse Yulissa made about fainting. Yulissa tells her sister that she's got it covered and to just back off. Ronnie approaches Zeke on the street corner, demanding that he end his relationship with Nichelle Torres. Feeling like this is coming out of nowhere, Zeke demands to know why he should let Nichelle go. After demanding answers, Ronnie reveals that Devante Torres is a business associate of the boss, aka our new friend Adaku. Zeke learns that Devante allows her to push drugs on the beachfront of Theodosius' palace. Even though Adaku isn't demanding Zeke to end the relationship, Ronnie strongly suggests it. Quinlan asks Zeke where he's been, but of course he can't tell his older sister, who's also his guardian, that he's selling drugs. So he decides to ask her if he should let someone go for their sake, even if he cares about this person. Since Quinlan isn't Boo Boo the Fool, she realizes that her younger brother has been seeing someone. Not revealing Nichelle's name or the reason why he has to let Nichelle go, Zeke tells Quinlan how he and this girl come from two different worlds. Quinlan points out how Zeke's lady friend doesn't seem to care, since this girl seems to like Zeke, and that it's clear Zeke likes her too. Zeke admits that his feelings are genuine, and that's enough for Quinlan to tell Zeke to remain in this relationship. Udell asks Ben to look into evidence that Essidor lied about Jeremiah beating him up, since Udell mentioned that Essidor must have gotten someone else to beat him up. Ben remembers the encounter Terry had with Essidor at the Labor Day picnic, suggesting that she might be a potential person of interest. When Ben mentions the encounter to Udell expresses how Elvira noticed the same sort of encounter at the funeral of her grandmother Martina. I guess we can gather that Essidor went off on Terry for taking the life of his grandfather, which led to Martina passing away of a broken heart. Ben states how he remembers this moment, and since Terry is stated to have had unpleasant moments with Essidor, Ben is certain that Essidor has something on her and intends to uncover what it is. Udell informs Jeremiah that Terry might have helped Essidor set him up. Jeremiah is upset to hear this news, especially when her son Keeve and his son JJ are friends. Even though Udell explains that Essidor might have blackmailed Terry, Jeremiah is not concerned about that, since her actions have turned his life and his family's life upside down, wondering if Finnegan might know of Terry's involvement. Udell encourages Jeremiah to focus on proving that Terry had something to do with the setup. Ben meets with Max at their family's estate to ask his younger brother to help prove that Essidor set Jeremiah up. He hands Max a chip to bug Essidor's room. Then Essidor shows up, Max bugs Essidor's room, then Ben tells his uncle how he came to inform him that he'll be attending the scholarship event that is supposed to honor Elvira. In the aftermath of AI Elvira crashing Wanda's runway, Essidor demands answers. But Wanda believes that both Essidor and Alan were behind the AI attacks, but we all know that Alan was the one behind it. Essidor begins to ask if AI Elvira was right when Wanda was accused of taking Elvira's life. Wanda tells Essidor that she's innocent, then she goes on to blame Alan and Essidor for the runway ending in catastrophe. Alan proceeds to call Wanda crazy, which was a huge mistake since Wanda slapped the taste out of Alan's mouth. When Alan and Essidor leave, Yvette asks Wanda if she did take Elvira's life, and Wanda is adamant that she didn't. At the Russo estate, Alan makes plans to mess with Udell a bit more and feels like Confidence Designs is already in his grasp. Wanda expresses to Udell how she isn't ready to go back to work after the mess that occurred at the runway, especially since what went down went viral. Udell encourages his wife to continue to stay strong and work to gather evidence that Alan and Essidor have been responsible for the AI attacks. Essidor asks Alan if he had anything to do with the AI attacks. Alan denies that he had any part in it, claiming that he would never disrespect Elvira like that. But we all know he's lying. So, does he realize that he's disrespecting his late aunt? Besides that, Essidor threatens that he would never forgive Alan if Lorenzo finds out, and it cost him his spot as the next CEO of Russo Jewelers. Who else thinks Essidor should be nominated as Father of the Year? Max approaches Alan, asking him if Wanda was right when she accused him of being behind the AI attacks. Once again, Alan denies any involvement. Max goes on to remind his cousin how he remembers how secretive Alan and Essidor were when they mentioned something about reaching out to Confidence Designs board members, wondering if Alan still wants to do business with Wanda's company. Alan tells Max how that's none of his business, insulting him by saying that his annoying personality is probably why Vanessa wants nothing to do with him. Finnegan arrives at Wanda's office, wanting to speak to her about what occurred at the runway, especially when AI Elvira accused Wanda of taking Elvira's life. Wanda reminds Finnegan that she was cleared of being a person of interest in Elvira's case 20 years ago. She adds that since there's not enough evidence that the Russos were behind the AI attacks, then it also means there's not enough evidence pointing her towards Elvira's case, telling Finnegan that if he wants to discuss Elvira further, then he'll have to speak with her with Udell present. This gives Finnegan no other option but to leave Wanda's office. Udell gets one final message from AI Elvira, telling him that only if he continued contacting her, she wouldn't have crashed Wanda's runway. Isabel Torres has the nightmare of the mysterious young man again. Once again, she asks who he is, and he tells Isabel that she should know. Somehow having blood pour out of him should have been the reminder she needed. That's when Devante wakes her up, questioning his wife about these constant nightmares. Isabel tells her husband not to worry. Heidi gets a call from Finnegan asking about the progress made with keeping Ben from trying to locate Elvira's diary. She informs him how it appears that Ben is making amends with the family, but Heidi is having a guilty conscience about making amends with Ben only to keep him from locating Elvira's diary. Finnegan and Heidi end their call, then Terry walks in, asking her husband who is on the phone. Of course, Finnegan can't tell his wife that he's cheating on her, so the best thing he can do is tell Terry to mind her own business. Ben expresses to Quinlan how much he hated sucking up to his family. Quinlan encourages Ben to stay strong long enough to find out what Heidi and Finnegan are hiding. He expresses how staying strong won't be that easy since she doesn't know his family like he does. When Quinlan states that she knows his family more than he thinks, she almost lets it slip that she's been hooking up with his father, then plays it off by saying she got to know them through interviewing the family for Elvira's documentary. Ben goes on to explain to Quinlan how the Russos are a bunch of toxic backstabbers that he'll have to spend time with at the scholarship event honoring Elvira at Theodosius' palace, asking Quinlan if she'd like to tag along. At first, she tells him how she doesn't want to risk them being exposed for working together, but he convinces her to just come as a guest. since he could use a friendly face. But since Ben's not the one she's hopping into bed with, Quillen asks her lover Gianni why he didn't invite her to the scholarship event at the hotel, not informing that his son, who she seems to be getting along with lately, already invited her. Gianni makes an excuse of the event being a bit too personal for Quinlan to come and that he doesn't want her to witness how bitter he is at Essidor for stealing his idea of the scholarship in the first place. Or maybe he didn't want her to come because of his special surprise for Essidor at the scholarship event. Can't get enough of the crazy world of In Times Like These? Then treat yourself to a binge watch of In Times Like These. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. You're not ready for what's to come, but tune in anyways.